nevertheless, now changing the focus onto a women's race, and there was a big story involving a glucose monitor. What race was it, and which rider was it as well?
It was
History.
Strade Bianca, the women's Strade Bianca race, and it involves Kristen Faulkner, who is an American from Alaska, riding for the Jayco Alula women's team. She finished in third place after what was a very strong day of racing. She was solo for a lot of it, then got swamped on the final climb by the duo from SD Works. She was announced as third, went on the podium. She got her trophy. She sprayed the Prosecco. And then a couple of days later, the sort of controversy starts like brewing up. There's pictures of the sort of glucose monitor on her arm. It's like a circular dot. You can see it in a lot of the pictures. Eventually, the UCI addressed this and disqualified Kristen Faulkner from the race, meaning that her podium place was stripped from her on the grounds that she was using a banned piece of equipment. Of course, that didn't go down very well with both her team, and the glucose monitor providers, which are Supersapiens, and the Abbott Libra sensor technology that is used for the Supersapiens device. So she said that she kind of justified it by saying that the glucose monitor wasn't actually connected to anything and she wasn't getting live data. I don't know how we can sort of test if that's true or not, but regardless, I think she will remain disqualified at Strade Bianca. But this is sort of setting precedent. It's the first time we've had someone disqualified from a professional race, either men's or women's, of my knowledge, for using equipment like this.
Because I was going to say that I was thinking about this earlier because there is the Novo Nordisk team, and that's like full of people with diabetes.
And also the Supersapiens, or the technology, it's the CEO of that is also the CEO of Novo Nordisk, Phil Sutherland.
So do they get an exemption from this rule because they're diabetic? Yeah. Because then this made me immediately think, right, how long is it going to be before I don't know how beneficial this technology is. I know it monitors your glucose level, so therefore you've know kind of if you're basically running low on energy, you need to refuel. But nutrition's so like tip top nowadays that they know how much they need to be eating anyway. And how long is it going to be before somebody thinks, oh, this if it is useful, I'm going to claim that I've somehow got some kind of vague diabetes, kind of similar to when back in the day people claimed that they had asthma so that they could get a TUE.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, how long is it going to be before this could become a new grey area where people are like, oh, I've got diabetes, so I need to use one of these. And it's just like, I just feel like it's a dangerous rabbit hole that we could be heading towards. And I hope that we just keep it, hope it just doesn't go to that.
Argument as well that for junior racing, if you have a junior popping up with this technology, it's separating, it's suddenly creating a level, not a level playing field. And suddenly these people, because they cost like £70, I think, €70. So they're not exactly cheap, but I think you have them for a few weeks.
Yeah, a couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
it's like I think it's €130 for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
That's a
you have to
lot.
replace them a lot. So it's incredibly expensive. You can get discounts, but it's incredibly expensive. The thing is that regardless of the cost, there's probably an advantage. You're getting live glucose data, although she says it wasn't live, but you can have access to that data. And knowing that is probably quite important to fueling strategy and knowing how to perform at your best. That's how they market this whole thing, is knowing how to fuel yourself and be at your tip-top performance. So there's evidently an advantage. It's like a power meter. I think people riding with power meters now
Yeah.
probably know a lot more than people who didn't ride with power meters.
True.
So there is probably an advantage. If it was disconnected, then there was no advantage. But why would you wear it if it's disconnected?
I didn't get that. It's just like if you know that it's banned and you know it's going to cause a bit of a ruckus. I know they cost a bit, but like you're not probably paying for this. Just take it off.
Yeah.
Like even if it's like, oh, but I've only had it on for a few days. I need to get my next extra 10 days of use out of this. It's like, but you know the risk that's going to come with it. Like it's not like a discrete thing. Like it pokes out through the jersey. Well, it bulges the jersey. You know, you can see it quite easily. I just don't get why they took the risk on that. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not even sure if you can get a readout to like your Garmin or anything. I swear, like it needs to go back to your car and they tell you or something. It's like I don't think bike computers have got to the point where they're integrating Supersapiens yet.
Maybe.
It's connected to a phone app.
Yeah, maybe she was kind of like we were saying, using it for the 2 weeks, and this just happened to be part of that 2 weeks, and then she just didn't want to remove it because we know it's 130 quid. I don't know. I don't know.
Or maybe this was all a big marketing ploy to talk about Supersapiens. They are very marketing savvy. Maybe
Oh,
maybe
it's
this
true.
was all part of the
Yeah,
this is all part of the plan, is that
true.
this would
They
happen.
just
But
want to
I
get
don't. I
on the
feel like for
echelon.
Faulkner, it's too sort of it's too much to sort of be given third place and to lose it a couple days after. It is a kind of prickly subject, if you pardon the pun.
Literally, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think the future going forward is that they will crop up undoubtedly. I know a couple of teams already use the data, but not in race. I think that's the
Yeah.
difference. Where I believe EF have used it before as well. EF are quite sort of savvy with using these new technologies like Whoop and so forth to maximize their riders. But using it in race, yeah, that does seem silly when it's banned. But where is the line here? We have heart monitors that are used in
Yeah.
racing. We have power meters that are used in racing. In road racing, at least. In track racing, you're not allowed to see them. Where do we draw the line? Because is this not the same? Is UCI trying to gatekeep new technology and new innovation? Potentially. They've been doing that in the past an awful lot.
Yeah. But at the same time, because I could see somebody being like, oh, but you could have it as like a graphic on screen or something. But it's like, yeah, but at the same time, right? Whoop graphics were put up quite a bit last year during the Giro, and it's the meme of like, oh, what's Hugh Carthy's stress score for today? Like that's just a meme now. It's like, how do I live without knowing how much strain Hugh Carthy's under? And it's like I just don't feel like people actually care that much about the statistics of all that. I mean, the only thing would be like, oh look, somebody's blown up spectacularly, and oh look, their glucose is low. But I just don't feel like people care enough about the data unless you're like a bit of a cycling kind of nerdy kind of techie type.
Surely it's for the team in the team car if that was it, or the rider. But
Yeah,
like we love to say that cycling kind of repeats itself. This this topic really feels like when power meters were coming out, where it was
yeah,
like, oh, we only want to see them in training, we don't want to see them in racing. They're gonna make racing boring. Now they're gonna become even more robots than they already are. They know their power, they know their glucose, they know their heart rate. It's just yeah, a scientific exercise now. It's not about the passion, the Julien Philippe attack, the Vokla attack, the Alberto Contador. Now everything is just measured to perfection. I don't know. I feel like it's becoming too scientific.
It's overanalyzed. We do have sort of data overload nowadays. We have teams employing data analysts. What is this? Goldman Sachs. It's extreme to some points, but you could also argue it as well by saying that, you know what? Part and parcel of being a professional athlete is knowing how to fuel correctly. It's knowing how to sort of read your body, and you have nutritionists working with you all the time to try to help you. Surely you should know how to sort of track yourself during a race. That is your profession after all. So maybe, I mean, you could say the same thing about like, oh, you should know how to sort of pace yourself and to like use your power output correctly throughout the whole stage, which is pretty similar argument there. I get for people with who are sort of prone and susceptible to glucose issues, with diabetes, also suffering with other sort of eating and nutritional problems. I understand that they can get this, but they can also apply for a therapeutic usages exemption. There we go, TV, which allows you to use it. For the general masses, I don't quite know if it adds anything, to be honest. But then does a heart monitor?
Well, I think a heart monitor is quite good. The only reason is you can see when you need a rest day, I think, and heart monitors with power meter. But again, it's like you said, kind of data overload. I think that is a very good way to put it. That aside, let's not focus too much on glucose monitors. But well, actually, no. We should probably, between the three of us, what do you think it should be in the sport, or should it be banned? I'm gonna say it's gonna. I don't want it in the sport for anyone but Novo Nordisk.
I know it's already in training, and it's like, do I?
Yeah, training's fine.
It's kind of
Training's
like
fine.
it's my thinking of, do I want it to be in cycling? No, but do I think that it will be? I think yeah, it probably will do in a few years' time. I think that similar to power meters, it'll just come in eventually, I reckon.
Yeah, I also agree. I think I'm too ignorant on what the advantages will be. Well, in terms of like what the advantages are of using it, doesn't make that much of a difference. There's plenty of research to be done in that. There must be enough if it's being marketed as upping your performance and improving it yourself. They're selling it for so much, it must be good. Then I think it's fair to give them out on a therapeutic use exemption to certain riders who need it. Maybe we need to vary who needs it on a wider sort of availability to more people who might be susceptible to low glucose and so forth. But yeah, I think it's inevitably going to be part of the sport. But just a thought I had in terms of the safety of it, because we know the UCI care greatly about safety. Is it a needle into your body? Like is it like a I know
Yeah,
it's like a circular thing, but does it like connect inside your skin?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
If you crash, then that is prone to causing
Oh,
greater
good point.
harm.
The infection rate could be quite high as well if
Yeah.
it's.
Like it's also kind of risky. There's probably plenty of research to be done in that field as well.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But yeah, if you're listening, Supersapiens, we're keen for a sponsorship. You, Ewan wants to try it.
Can I get a free one, please? Just give it a go.
But anyways, changing the conversation from glucose monitors.